Yo, what's good? What's up, man? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up? What's good? What's good? What's good? How's everybody doing out there, man? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Friday. We made it through another week, y'all. Another week down, man. Another week, man. We into the weekend again already, baby. How's everybody doing out there? How's everybody doing? Man. Y'all having a good time? Y'all having a good time? Y'all having a good time? Amen, amen. I hope everybody out there is doing well. Before we get into the show, y'all, my girlfriend and I got our car back on Wednesday, right? As y'all know, we was dealing with that shit. What's good, Elijah? What's good? What's good? Toronto, Canada. But we got back our car on Wednesday, right? And yesterday there was like one game on, right? So I finally got a break on one of these evenings from watching 40,000 games at one time. But we were able to go out a little bit, and let me tell y'all how dangerous it be to have a car sometimes. You could go wherever the fuck you want to go. Please explain to me why Marshalls has Fear of God Essentials clothing. Can somebody please explain that to me? And then do the roar, rar, rar, motherfucker, rar. Yo, I wish every time I roared it was like the lion in the in the movies. I wish that's how that shit would come out. But yeah, I got bamboozled, y'all. I saw fucking Fear of God Essentials at Marshalls, and I ended up copping the hoodie. They got me. There was some other shit there too. Low key, there was some other shit there too, bro. At Marshalls, dog. At Marshalls, they be having shit like that. That's why, when it comes to clothes, man, you gotta dig sometimes. You gotta dig. I'm telling you, you gotta dig. But we got out the house. We did like a little Target run. Yeah, we back outside. We back outside because we've been walking around like fucking peasants for 2 weeks. But I'm glad that shit's kind of over with. And hey, man, let's get right into it. Now, before we start the show, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. We're trying to take this to the moon, as y'all already know. And welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any other topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Now, today, we are going to be talking about a big night of basketball on Wednesday night. Fucking almost all of the teams were playing. There was a ton of games. It was as good of a follow-up as you could have to the Cup games that happened on Tuesday. So it was a great 2 days of basketball. And then we saw some fuck shit with the Dallas Mavericks last night. But before we get into that, man, I want us to start. Where is the shit? We got to start right here, bro. We got to start right here. Y'all seen this shit? Y'all seen this shit?
Ladies and gentlemen.
He slapped the shit out that man. Bro, he was asleep. He was asleep at the wheel. Man, he could have been doing a shift at what's the homeboy that hung himself? Epstein. Yeah, he could have been. He could have been the guard on that duty because my buddy fell asleep. But anyway, speaking of asleep, I really wonder if Mike Tyson still got a loose screw, bro. I really do wonder because, I mean, everybody talks about how strong and how fast he is, and I get that he's 50 or 60 or however old he is. I get it. And I was someone that was. I've been saying that, Jake Paul is a little bit better than what some people give him credit for. First of all, Mike Tyson with the tighty whities coming out. I mean, like the whole shit just made no sense. And I could see it going both ways. I could see it being staged and that happening. I could see it not being staged and that shit happening. I am excited to watch this shit, though. I can't even lie to you. I'm excited to watch this shit. I'm gonna fucking enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy it because all it is entertainment, right? It's when they talk about sports entertainment, this leans on the entertainment side way more than it do on the sports side. And if you know anything about Mike Tyson, ever since he's come back over the last, half a decade or so, when he's really made a comeback, he's been about his bag. Now, do I think he's gonna take a loss? I mean, he's lost before. It's not like he has some perfect undefeated record that he's got to protect. And if you think about somebody that could recover from a loss or flip it into something good, it's probably Mike Tyson. But we'll see, because bro really is old. Like, like you really getting older. Like, it is what it is. But that shit was funny as fuck. I can't wait to see the rest of that. I think that's tonight. I think it's tonight is when that shit is on, right? Yeah, but I think it's tonight. So super excited. Now, tomorrow we do have a real fight going on. UFC is tomorrow, so I'm hyped as fuck for that too. I feel like I haven't seen a MMA fight in a little bit. I think the last one was the Max Holloway one when he got slept by Ilia Topuria, but I don't know, man. This shit's been a blur since the NBA season started. At like 11 though. It's tonight at 11 tonight. Let me see what the fight time for this thing actually is. Low key, because we're going to our buddy's house. It was their dog's birthday, so we celebrating the dog's birthday. My dog gonna be there. We bringing our dog. It's like a doggy play day. It's lit. What am I looking at? There's no way they're starting that shit at 11. Let's see. Fight time. I don't need a whole article, dog. Just tell me what time this shit starts. Like, why are they trying to give me a whole article, man? $8 p.m. Eastern is when the fight time starts. Okay. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. All right, that's not too bad. There's an undercard apparently that's at 5:30. Oh, by the way, before we move on from the fights before start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. There's 3 fights on the prelim card. Begins at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and the 4-fight main card. Oh, because there's 4 fights. But okay, so the reason it probably says 11 is because there's 4 fights on the main card, which starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. But the thing is, I don't think all of these fights are full 12 round, 3-minute round boxing fights. So, I mean, to your point, it might end up starting at like 11 p.m. Eastern when Jake Paul and Mike Tyson actually get on. Because more than likely they're going to try to milk the time unless people are getting knocked out left and right. Which, typically don't happen because the motherfuckers aren't that good. So, we'll see. Yeah, we might be in it for a long one. So, we'll see what happens with that shit tonight. But so we got that. We got the UFC. And let's get into some basketball, man. Let's get into some basketball. I'll start with some of the bad shit, actually. How about let's do that? Let's start with the bad shit. Yo, can somebody explain to me how we had 3 losses in the NBA this week, in this week alone, that came down to absolutely horrible defense? Horrible. Like when you think about game tying and game winning shots, we're thinking fadeaways, step backs, spin shots, like something crazy. But the Miami Heat lost on the alley-oop play, which that nobody was like. It looked like the Miami Heat players could have just not been on the court. They didn't even react to it, right? And then obviously the Eric Spoelstra technical foul. We had the New York Knicks, who were down a lot. They were down like 22. Came all the way back just for Josh Hart to foul the 3-point shooter in the back. And then we had 2 back-to-back plays in the Dallas Mavericks game last night where, I mean, it was just awful defense. And so I don't know, man. Like we've been talking about how defense has been really, really bad in the last couple years in the NBA, and I think this week kind of shows that. Pistons making the playoffs and getting a game against the Celtics. Detroit up. Detroit really is. And we'll talk about them. We'll talk about them in a second because Giannis needed every single bucket just to beat the Detroit Pistons. And I mean every single one of those 59 points just to beat the Detroit Pistons. So we'll talk about the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham proving my ass wrong. Cade is proving me wrong this season, and I love that. But let's talk about my New York Knicks, man. Let's talk about my New York fucking Knicks because, I mean, I know that we're struggling, right? Like, I already understand the fact that we're struggling. Like, I get it, right? There's a transition period where, you're bringing in 2 starters, right? You're not bringing in a role player that's coming off the bench. You're not bringing in a 6th man. You're not bringing in 1 starter. You brought in 2 starters. So that adjustment period for a team takes a little bit longer. And when you think about the New York Knicks, they had to adjust last year to when Julius Randle went out and the offense was completely based on Jalen Brunson, and they made the run, and then, months later they have to adjust again. And I said it the other day, Karl Anthony Towns has been our best player this season. And I don't even think it's really that close. On Wednesday night, we lost to the Chicago Bulls 124 to 123. And we needed every single bucket from Karl Anthony Towns that night. He had 46 points, shot 18 of 13 from the field, 6 of 12 from 3, 4 of 8 from the line to go with 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 3 steals. Brunson ended up with 24 points, but he only shot 9 of 20, 3 of 9 from 3. It didn't look great, even though he hit some big shots in the end, right? And I think our big problem right now is we can't stop a fucking soul. I mean, we gave up. Levine had 31. Kobe White had 22. Patrick Williams had 18. And Nikola Vucevic had 19. I mean, and granted, like I said, we came all the way back. And I guess the toughest part for me is, you know, Josh Hart is supposed to be our defensive player that works hard. You know, I know he jokes that he goes out there and he mindlessly just runs, but he's a smart player. And to put a hand on that dude's back in that play when you were already beat, right? There's just no there's no excuse for that. Because one, he's a vet. And two, like what do we always say? You have to let the players earn the shot. You have to put these players in a position to where if you make a tough shot, I could shake your hand and say, damn, that was tough. Good shot. Versus me fouling you, and now we're playing the fucking what if game. And so it's tough to see, especially after the comeback that we had, right? Karl Anthony Towns did what he did in that game. Jalen Brunson hit a tough fucking shot, right? He hit a tough shot. Let's take a look at this.
Drives inside, goes in, looks to the layup. Bank shot is good. It's good.
And even before that, he hit a jumper too. That was just tough.
4.6 remaining.
He's on Levine. So you would think Levine is going to. Oh, look at the subbing now. Hart and Levine.
The goal that would help.
So Bridges tied.
Don't want is a foul on before the inbounds pass and away from the play foul. Giddy looking. Levine can't get it.
Like, you're beat already, bro. Like you're beat. Like, at this point, like it's on that player to make a tough shot.
It's Kobe White. Shot blocked, but a foul.
And listen, I get it. He sold the call, but he definitely touched him in the back. Hey, yo, pause. But he definitely got a hand on the back, and that's why Kobe White sold the foul.
Behind the arc.
Like we were, like we had the win. You know it's crazy, bro. You know it's crazy. I watch all of these games, right? I'm like, oh, good play. Oh, shit. That's cool what he did. Like, I love basketball, right? No one gets me up out of my seat the way the fucking Knicks do. And the fact that we lost the game like that. It's like when I talk about like the basketball gods, right? Like it's as if they're saying, nah, this ain't y'all year. It's as if that's what they're saying. Cause the way we have lost some of these games, it just makes no sense. It just makes no sense. One of the early games that we had where, you know, Cat also had like 36 or something. There was so much ball movement. The ball was zipping around. We were hitting backdoor cuts multiple times in a quarter. And there's just none of that. There's none of that right now. It's turned into, all right, somebody run a high pick and roll with Cat. Right? If it's single coverage, you try to turn the corner. If not, you swing it back out to Cat. And Cat is either going to shoot it or he's going to pump fake and go right because he's not going to pump fake and go left. And then they make a play. He either gets all the way to the paint. If not, kick it out, reset it, and do it again. That's essentially what they're doing right now. And then if not, it's, okay, dribble handoff to Brunson. Try to drive it. Take a tough floater. Take a layup with contact. Like, that is the core of what the New York Knicks are doing on offense. And then on defense, we're not really stopping anybody. And I told y'all we were small. I told y'all this. So the Knicks need to figure this out. It was similar to Brunson having to figure out how to play with Julius Randle. Because the reality is, right, more often than not, the person that's going to have a mismatch is your big. And so Jalen Brunson is having to adjust because he's still taking more shots than Karl Anthony Towns, but Towns is averaging more than him. And so they both have to adjust to this offense still. And I don't know if Brunson is going to have to just, I don't know if it's like a quarter thing, right? Like for me, it almost feels like Karl Anthony Towns should be attacking in the beginning of the quarters, right? Get the threes going, blah, 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 blah. And then when you're in the penalty towards the end of quarters or when you're getting closer to the penalty, that's when Brunson should be looking to score and get his points because he's so good at drawing contact and getting to the rim. You know, that's one strategy. That's one way you could look at it. I don't know if it's a quarter thing, right? You go first in the first quarter. I got the second. But they have to figure it out because right now, sometimes it looks like they don't know what the fuck is going on out there. Like Hart will catch the ball and you can literally see him think, oh, fuck, what are we doing next? And you don't want that. You want the offense to be fluid. You want guys to know what they're going to get into at all times of the possession. And right now is hot potato. All right. You run a pick and roll with Cat. Okay. You run a pick and roll with Cat. And they're having a tough time. So like I said, I think it could be like a timing thing. Maybe Cat is going to be in attack mode in the earlier part of the quarters. and then Brunson in the later part of the quarters. But the other issue too is Karl Anthony Towns just cannot stay out of foul trouble. And this is a problem he was having in Minnesota. It was a problem he was having in the playoffs. He can't be in foul trouble, right? He's too valuable of an offensive player. He provides size to be getting in foul trouble. He needs to figure that part out. He really does. There's times where he needs to just concede and and just contest instead of, sometimes he'll do one of those where somebody's driving and he'll try to like muscle up and try to stop them instead of just, leading them, trying to get them on an off angle to the rim. Like it's just weird the way that he does shit sometimes. But honestly, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, heading into this game was Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is a player that's been in a lot of, trade conversations over the last couple of years, right? A lot of teams have talked about wanting him, but no one's actually made a move to go and get him. And I know his contract is also a part of that issue. And so I was trying to figure out what it is about Zach LaVine that just doesn't work, right? Because, he's athletic. Even though he's had some injuries, he's still athletic. He's fast. He can shoot the ball. He has a bit of a midi game. He could pass a little bit. Not the best defender, but he has some size. I think if you put him in a system, it could work. And so there's a lot of things going for him in terms of basketball. And so I was curious what it was that like brings him in, that's stopping him from being this superstar or from being a more dominant player. And there was a sequence in the third quarter, right? The Knicks were in the middle of their like 17-0 run, right? The score was 90-71 at this point, right? Sorry, this was before the 17-0 run. 90-71. And it was the right corner, right? In the right corner, Zach LaVine pump fakes and gets Deuce McBride to jump. Instead of attacking the rim, because there was no one there, he took a sidestep three and bricked the shot. And, the Knicks eventually were on a 17-0 run. And I pinpointed that moment because as a player, you have to understand the situation. You have to understand time management and make decisions based off of that, right? Zach LaVine can take a step back three at any point in the offense. Any of these guys can. It's easy at this point in the NBA. Doesn't mean it's a good shot, but they can take it. And in that moment, to be up 90-71, and instead of driving it and potentially getting a dunk that now puts energy into your team, right? You guys go and get a couple more stops because of it, or you get an end one layup. He light skin and would have dunked that shit. It's those little moments that don't show up, you know, because when you look at the game, he had, like I said, he had his 31, right? Like, he was doing his thing. He shot a great percentage from the field, shot a great percentage from three. But Kelly Oubre would have too. Yeah, Tatum might have shot the three too, bro. Tatum definitely might have shot the three. But it's those little moments that aren't winning plays where, you know, when people say you're settling for the 3-point shot, you're settling for the shot. He should have drove that ball because he had an opportunity to try to stop a run. And instead of taking the more guaranteed scenario, he took a tough step back, going to the right at that, right? If you've played basketball before, you know shooting to your left is much easier than shooting to your right. If you're a right-handed player, right? It's easier to do a step back going to your left than to go to your right because now you're shooting across your body. And so for him to settle for that shot, I was like, oh, okay, there it is. There it is, right? It's those moments, and he'll hit some of them, but more often than not, you're gonna miss those shots. And you know, in the end, the Knicks bailed them out. In the end, the Knicks 100% bailed them out of that one. But yeah, that shit was a tough loss, bro. That was a tough loss. I was not happy about that shit at all. I was not happy at all. I was tight. I was tight, bro. Like I was tight. Shit. Now, do I have this one pulled up? Let me see. Now, to go from that loss, let's pull up the Mavericks Jazz game. Because, boy, that was another one. Let's take a look at this right here, y'all. And, you know, for me too, I think it was Kyrie Irving didn't play. Kyrie didn't play. And so it was just Luka and it was just Klay Thompson out there. Let's take a look at this. So 110-111, 45.6 left. Jordan Clarkson has the ball.
It's a youthful rebuild and trying to win the first game at Delta Center. Clarkson against Luka. Step through. Count it.
And he immediately looks at number 5 right here. Right? And so I go to look back. Right? We take a look at it again.
And listen to this hometown crowd of the 2-8 Jazz. It's a youthful rebuild. And
look at this. Like, he
to win the first game at Delta City.
He is not wrong, right? You saw Portland got multiple games on the Wolves. Yeah. Yeah. They beat the fuck out of them in that Emirates Cup game. They beat the brakes off them fools, bro. That shit was bad. I could talk about that in a little bit as well, too.
Clarkson against Luka.
Oh, shit. But look, he get caught napping right here. Because Markkanen starts running, and he shouldn't have stayed high like that. Like, there was no reason for him to be this high up. Like, he should have been at where the hash mark would be. So he could still get out and contest it.
Clarkson against Luka. Step through.
But, like, Luka, I get that guy fucked up, too. I get number 5 fucked up. I get it. I get it. But why did you jump? Why did you jump, Luka? Because if you don't jump, if Derek Lively comes up to help, then he fucks up. He only jumped to help you out. And you're looking at somebody else when you could have stopped that guy right there. And you could have forced them into a tough shot. Because what? He probably kicks it out to somebody. Maybe Lauri Markkanen gets that back door. Maybe. But he immediately is looking. Look, because he knows. He's looking as if John Collins came from all the way from the corner and dunked that motherfucker. It's like, no, you shouldn't have jumped on the pump fake initially.
On the put down by John Collins.
Come on, Bowler.
Can the Jazz hold off the mighty lost to Boston 4-1 in the finals? Luka.
Oh, this is a big shot right here from
Came
Clay.
out the screen, then breaks to the paint. They bounce it out to Clay. Deep on the three. Got it.
They were expecting it. They were expecting
Clarkson will bring it across the timeline.
Bro, let's do this. Playback speed 0.5.
This crowd is standing.
Fucking robotics right now. So Luka has John Collins right now, right? But he's trying to be the help. And then John Collins starts slowly sliding down. Right? So Luka's like, okay, let me help. I'm assuming. I'm just assuming Luka thinks he's the nail guy right here to help out on the Jordan Clarkson dive. And Derek Lively is, I'm assuming he thinks is the one that's supposed to be splitting the difference right now. On two guys that could be attacking the basket. Number 5 again, coming up really high. So if you look at this, looks insane. like yo, this looks crazy. This looks, because they could have done anything. He could have backpicked Luka. He could have dove right here. He would have had to help. Lauri could have stayed over here and gotten a good shot. I mean, so many scenarios. But like we said, Luka was on Collins. And he just, as easy of a game winner as you will ever see. I listen. I hear you, Luka. Like, he would not, like, he was literally looking at the bench, like like bro was literally looking at the bench, like he not even looking at nothing, like he just straight looking at the bench, like he not looking at shit. Like he never seen y'all ever seen the old Michael Jordan video? There's old Michael Jordan videos where he like teaches you how to play basketball, how to shoot the turnaround fade, the free throw. And one of them is his peripherals, right? Like he says, like he talks about how far he could see with his peripherals. And on defense, his whole objective is to put his line of sight in between, you know, his man and where he thinks is going to be, right? So his man is always in his peripherals. And to your point, Elijah, he was not watching. He was looking at the bench. He was straight up watching the bench. Look, he even points at him. He even points at John Collins. Like that is ridiculous. How are y'all, like, how are you guys getting game winners that are this easy, where like there's no fadeaway, there's no floater over 2-3 people like Derrick Rose used to hit, it's not a step back, like this the easiest dunk, that might have been the easiest shot John Collins had the whole game. That is unacceptable. Right? Like, it gets to a point where, you know, everyone talks about how smart Luka Doncic is on offense, right? He predicts stuff, the way he can break people down. He can predict where you're going to be as the defender, get you leaning one way, go the other way, kick it out. Where is that same intelligence on defense? Because granted, maybe physically he's not capable of being a defensive player of the year kind of guy. But what happened to quarterbacking the defense a little bit? Of like, just last week, Anthony Edwards was raving about how Jokic knew exactly what play they were going to run. Jokic wasn't the one that ultimately broke up the play, but he communicated it to everybody. At what point do we start expecting the same thing out of Luka? Okay, physically, you can't be that person on defense. He could if he wanted to. Yeah. I think that's where, that's where it's getting to, right? Like, you can't only be that smart on one side of the basketball. Right? You just can't. You can't. If you're athletic enough for all that on offense, you could do defense. And like I said, right? Like, Jokic is not a defensive player of the year candidate. He plays really solid defense. I think he's probably a little bit underrated, actually, right? But he's always in the right spot for the most part. He uses his size and his body and his physicality to his advantage on defense, right? To where, all right, I'm not as fast as you, but if I could beat you to a spot, now I can just muscle you up, right? I could just use my size. And then I communicate to my team what is going on defense, what they're about to run, because I know what it is. Like where is that? There's a thing in basketball that I think a lot of people misunderstand, right? And it's the assist. Some people think that because you average a lot of assists, that you make your team better, or that you make your teammates better because you're getting a whole bunch of assists. But that's not always the case. It's not. Especially if, for example, like James Harden on the Rockets, he was unbelievable, but a lot of those guys were shooting standstill, wide open 3-point shots. Their games weren't growing necessarily. I'm going to hold the ball this whole time, and I'm going to either throw an alley-oop to Clint Capella, or I'm going to kick it to you and you shoot that shot. If not, you give it right back to me and we going to do this shit all over again. I had a lot of assists. They had wins. He was the MVP and he was unbelievable. But the assists didn't necessarily translate to making his teammates better. And Luka's young, and he's been unbelievable in his young career. But there's more to making your teammates better than passing them the ball so they can hit an open three or they could get a dunk. Especially when you're holding the ball in the possession 80% of the time for 80% of that shot clock. No one's game is able to actually grow. And then unlike Jokic, if you're not helping your guys out on defense, so that you can verbalize what you see so that they can start understanding it. Because, hey, sometimes people are just slower than others. It's okay. It's okay. That's why this is a team effort. Hey, you missed that. I got you. Next time, oh, he likes to do this. Get him over here. Where is that part? Where is that? It's nowhere to be found right now. And yes, he's still an MVP caliber player. Yes, he's still unbelievable. But we need to start expecting more out of him, and it's not just with the numbers. Right? I think this is one of those scenarios where he has a lot of improving to do, and it has nothing to do with the skills or the game of basketball necessarily. All we've ever talked about, all right, you got to get in better shape. They get no fast break points. They get no fast break points, and I don't know if that's because their game plan is to pretty much go half court, high pick and roll with Luka, or it's because he physically can't run up and down the court that quickly. But they get no fast break points, and he's your point guard that's supposed to be pushing the pace. So everything is difficult. Everything is in the half court. You guys get no easy buckets. Now, I do think that the Dallas Mavericks will end up all right in the end, but they have to fix those things. This Utah Jazz team is not good. They are not a good team. Like, trust me, they are not good. And like I said, I think we need to start looking at Luka, because he has so much to give, right? He's not a point, and people get mad when I say that. Yeah, I mean, he's just so used to having the ball in his hands. But it's on you as the coach to start taking the ball out of his hands a little bit more, right? I think that's like a coaching thing. And for me, it's funny because Jason Kidd was such a fast player. Like when you talk about a point guard that was always pushing the pace, this is not the pace that Jason Kidd used to play at. And he needs to start expecting a little bit more out of Luka. And like I said, it's not a numbers thing. And it's not even close to a numbers thing. It's some of the other stuff that comes with the game of basketball. Man, what are we gonna get into right now? What are we gonna get into? We gonna get into the 50s? We gonna get into the 50 balls? We gonna get into the 50 balls? Man, Giannis the other night had 59 points, dog. 59 points. And like I said, the Milwaukee Bucks needed every single bucket from Giannis. They barely beat the Detroit Pistons. Excuse me. And if it wasn't for was homeboy. Where he at? Was it DeLon Wright? No, it's not. Where's young boy? Oh, it was Ronald Holland. Y'all saw that? Wait, we gotta see this. Let's see. Bro. You know when You know when you see somebody and you just know they gonna miss, like, and you just know, like, you just know they gonna miss this shit. We gonna see the free throw. Hold on. Wait, we gotta watch the free throw, dog. He damn near airballed that shit. Look,
He's feeling it.
Look. He starts shaking the hands. Yo, we all been there. Yo, that's horrible, man. Like, I feel bad.
The 19-year-old with at least the game weight tonight on his shoulders.
Look, when you start doing that, you don't even practice. You don't even air practice your free throws ever, and now you're doing it because you just missed that shit. Look at him. He's saying, "Damn, look, he's looking over. He don't even know who he's looking at." Look, he did not want to take this free throw at all. At all, he did not want this shit. If they could have subbed him out, he would have let them sub him out. Boy, he did not want to shoot that shit. That was tough. But he's young. You know, being in a moment like that. You know, Giannis got 50. Like, it was just a tough moment. But that's what it took for the Milwaukee Bucks to beat the Detroit Pistons. Like young boy had to miss 2 free throws like that, and Giannis had to go and get 59. I mean, like, what can you say about Giannis? Isaiah Stewart tried to knock him on his ass earlier. Like, when was that shit? That was early. That was early, right? When he fouled him hard. I don't get how we in the league not making free throws. That's part of being professional, in my opinion. I mean, facts. But like, he's young. What I'm assuming is like he just not been in that situation a lot in his you know, high school, college. Like, either they were blowing people out or getting blown out. Just not in that situation shooting free throws. You know, I'm sure you know some people that they would damn near rather shoot the pull up for the win or for the loss rather than to go on the free throw line and shoot it. That shit just does something to people. But let's take a look at Isaiah Stewart trying his best to stop Giannis.
Two-man game, PC finding Giannis.
Yeah, bring that ass here, boy. Bring that ass here. Well, then why be in the league? Hey, man, because he got to feed his family. He could do a little crossover and shoot, I guess. Oh, man, but buddy. Or, right? Or some people just aren't clutch. Right? Like, everybody can't be clutch. Like, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully, you know, he takes it as a learning experience. And kind of moves on from it. But Isaiah Stewart was trying some different tactics to slow down Giannis because everything they were doing was not working. But he got ejected. Yo, buddy really threw Giannis on the ground like that. That man tried to fight Braun. He threw Giannis on the ground. Isaiah Stewart is a menace, bro. Isaiah Stewart is a menace. And listen, I'm sure that didn't help the Detroit Pistons. Because Giannis said, I'm going to bust y'all ass. Like, I'm sure it did not help at all. Because Giannis was going at it. He was hitting middies. He was hitting 3-point shot. Like, He was doing everything, right? Absolutely everything. And, it's just one of those things where, the Bucks haven't looked very good this year at all. And it was great that Giannis had a big game. It was great. But I think it also shows how bad the Milwaukee Bucks really are. Like it truly does. Like, I keep going back to the fact that they needed that, and the Detroit Pistons are much better this year than they were last year. They're a competitive basketball team, right? They compete. And, Giannis, he had to go and get that game, right? That was the only way that they were winning that. But I think for me, the only other thing on Giannis's game is he's yet to develop a post up. So everything is still a drive into a euro or a spin. And if his jump shot isn't going, then he's going to have a rough time. I think he was like damn near perfect from the free throw line that night. He's like 16 of 17. Let's take a look right here. And so you think about how much Giannis already scores. And let's see. And he shoots 61% from the free throw line. And because of that 59-point game, now he's bumped up to 33.3. But you are just leaving points on the table, right? He shoots 10.7 free throws and he hits 6.5 of them a game. Like, imagine he's at 8.5 to 9. That's an additional 2 points per game. Like, you're at 35. Just from 2 additional free throws. Like, isn't that crazy? Like that's crazy to me. But it was just a masterful game. He wasn't gonna let them lose. That's what that game was. He wasn't gonna let them lose under any circumstances. They were not losing. That game. And even though, they had the opportunity to lose, basketball God said, no, let's go to overtime. Let's see if Giannis can get 60. And he had 59. I really wish he got 60, though. I really, really do. But let's talk about this Detroit Pistons team really quickly. Because I know I said Cade Cunningham, like, there wasn't anything wrong with him as a basketball player per se. He could do a little bit of everything, right? He has a great shot, middies, 3-point shots. Like, he could do a little bit of everything. And, he was trying his best to go and win that game at the end of it, and they just ended up falling short. So I gotta give him his credit. He's been balling out for them, like, absolutely balling out for them. And is continuing to grow. We always talk about over here. We always talk about timely buckets, right? Like, when we go on the stat sheet, all we see is the points, right? We don't get a breakdown as to necessarily when, unless you look at the by-quarter breakdowns. But, Cade Cunningham has been doing his thing. Like, he had 10 in that fourth quarter. He was trying. He had 10 to go with 4 assists and 3 rebounds in the fourth quarter alone. 7 of the 9 points that they scored in overtime was Cade Cunningham. So, when you talk about timely buckets, 17 of his 35 came in the fourth quarter in overtime. And that goes a long way. Like, that stat is much more important than the 35 points. He could have had whatever he had. But the fact that he scored those buckets at the end of the game goes to show you that he's, one, playing with a lot of confidence. And number two, has a understanding of what we just talked about with Zach LaVine, right? Has a understanding of time and possession and the situation in the game, right? When it was time for him to go and get his points, in the times that he needed to, he was able to do that. And, you know, they almost pulled out the victory. But they just, like I said, fell a little bit short. I'm going to see where they are right now in the standings. Right. Let's see. They're 10th right now in the East, 5-8 on the season. 5-8. So, you know, and that night very easily could have been, you know, they could be 6-7 right now. Just from that alone. So that should just go to show you, you know, how quickly things can turn in the NBA, just from one victory or one loss. Now, in the same evening, Wemby also went and had 50 points, his first 50-point game. And let's see. Who the fuck is it? Here it is. Oh. Here, but I want to highlight real quick too, right? Because Wemby had 50. He had an unbelievable game. Jordan Poole had 42. And I get that, you know, when it came to the fourth quarter, you know, the game was pretty much over, even though the Wizards tried to make a little bit of a run there at the end. And granted, a lot of those shots that Poole was taking in the fourth quarter, there wasn't a ton of pressure behind it because you're down by so much already, right? And you're just trying to claw back. But 15 points in the fourth quarter, to go with 2 assists. He shot 6 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, just in the fourth quarter alone. You know, just to highlight where he was last season, you know, considered damn near the worst player, one of the worst players in the NBA statistically. To go from that to, you know, the season that he is having right now. Let's see, like I think he was first or second the whole time, but, you know, 2.3 steals per game, second in the league in steals per game. Just a massive difference in his game, right? But we got to talk about Wemby. He had 50 points, 18 of 29 from the field, 8 of 16 from 3, 6 of 9 from the free throw line, to go with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. And, you know, I think this is a example of what games can look like for him. I know that, you know, I was giving him shit and, you know, others were giving him shit, right? Because his game isn't polished yet. And even with the 50 points, I can still say his game is not polished yet. You know, when you're a shooter and you get hot in the NBA, you can fuck around and have a really, really big game, right? 8 3-pointers is already like 24 points. That's 24 points. 6 free throws is 30. And so, he had to go and get, 10, dunks and lays and, a couple mid-ranges. But that's how the game kind of broke down for him. He's playing off of complete, just his talent right now. He doesn't understand the game to the point where he can manipulate it the way a Chris Paul has, or a LeBron, or a Shea, or any of these guys, right? And so this is just a preview as to how good Wemby can be. But hey, don't be fooled. He's going to have another bad game. Like, he's going to have another bad game. Because, if he shot 4 of 16, for example, from 3 that night, game could look totally different. Some of those other shots that you take might not go in because you're just not in rhythm. And so it's the risk that you take in being a jump shooter, right? But like I said, he's a special dude. I think I'm impressed with the fact that he still went and got his 3 blocks, and that they were up by so much, right? In comparison to Giannis had 59 and the game was tight as hell, and like they needed it. They had to bring Wemby back at the end because Poole started going a little crazy in the fourth quarter. But his 50 in 32 minutes, 50 points in 32 minutes, right? So that should just go that goes to show you what his ceiling could look like. He's a super talented player. That's still learning the game. And that's the scary part. And I think there's some folks online that they throw a fit when we critique these guys. And it's only because we can see them getting better, how much better they could be, how much easier they can make the game on themselves. But yeah, man, he's an unbelievable player. He's an unbelievable player. Now, I wanted to talk about the two teams. Well, really, the Boston Celtics right now, and we'll get up out of here. I know I've been very high on the Boston Celtics, right? I expect a lot out of them, and I think it's understandably so. They have a great team from top to bottom. They have versatile players. But I do have some concerns about them right now. Payton Pritchard, oh yeah. He looked like it right now too. He looked like it. I think he'll probably have a couple 30 balls this year. So I do think there's a very good chance he gets 6th man of the year. I'm trying to think of who else right now is really like coming off the bench and as making noise like that, and I can't really think of anything right now. Yeah, I do think it's Payton Pritchard, but here, let's do this. Here, y'all gonna take a look at this with me, right? So, in points, right? Boston Celtics are second, 121.3, 121.8. Cleveland Cavaliers are first, right? And when you look at the 3-point attempts, the Boston Celtics are first, right? With 50.4. 50.4 3-point attempts. Over half of their attempts are coming from the 3-point line because they're averaging 90.2 field goal attempts. And think about that, right? 53 point attempts, 121.3 points, right? Last season, they were averaging 120.6 points per game, 38.8 3-point attempts. So your plus 12 in 3-point attempts is equaling a plus 1 in your points per game. That's horrible. That's really, really bad. And when you look at the 3-point percentage, right, the Cavaliers are leading this by a pretty wide, not a pretty wide margin, but they're leading this, and they're also leading the league in field goal percentage. Hey, New York Knicks, even though we're fucking under 500, but 51.8% field goal percentage, and you got to go all the way to 20 to see the Boston Celtics at 46.1. And then, the other real problem with them is when you look at the defensive ratings, right? 2023, 2024, they were third. And right now, they're seventh. And so, when you think about a team that's trying to repeat, their defense has gotten worse relative to the rest of the league, right? Because last year, they were giving up 112.5 at the end of the year. Right now, they're currently giving up 110. So technically, that's better. But when you have the Oklahoma City Thunder that are only allowing 102.25 points per game, that means that your defense has a lot of improving to do from now to the end of the year. And then you add the fact that you are shooting that many more 3-point shots. I mean, last year they were averaging 42.5 3-point attempts, 90.2 field goal attempts. So they were almost at 50-50, but they were still getting more lays and mid-range shots. So none of these numbers look right for the Boston Celtics. They're not good signs. Because like I said, there isn't necessarily an issue at this point with you taking so many 3-point shots. They just can't come at the expense of your 2-pointers and your layup attempts and your free throws and getting to the rim. Right now it is. And, when you think about basketball and you're shooting so many threes, what does that mean? A lot of long rebounds for the other team. Now they get to go run out on the fast break. Even if not, you guys are in cross matches on defense, not matched up with who you're supposed to. They're trying to run into mismatches and they're trying to take advantage of it. It puts you at a disadvantage. And now it applies more pressure on your defense. Which, currently it looks like they've been struggling. A lot of their games have been pretty close so far. And so, when you look at when you look at the Boston Celtics this year, yes, they're still one of the best teams in the league, but they do have to clean their game up. You're looking at, in your conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers team that is leading the league in points, leading in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. You're going to have to defend that. And you're going to have to stop them. And you can't be playing the 3-point shooting game because they shoot at a better clip than you do. And so, we have to watch this as the season goes on. Are they going to continue this trend the Boston Celtics are? Or are they going to slowly adjust their game? I think as the years have gone on, right? Jason Tatum's mid-range game has not improved like it should be. Right? Someone that loves Kobe so much, his mid-range should be much, much better. It should damn near be automatic at this point. With his size, with his athleticism, those shots should be easy shots for him. And, if the rest of the team is going to keep, shooting a whole bunch of threes, Tatum needs to start utilizing his size a lot more in the mid post and getting to the bucket. He's still getting his free throws, but he needs to start getting easier baskets for himself. And, for a guy that's already averaging 30, kind of like Giannis, he's leaving points on the table. Right? So, look for the Boston Celtics to adjust even just a little bit. Even just a little bit. And I think that they could do it. And, even with their quote-unquote struggles, they're still at 10-3. Still one of the best teams in the NBA. So that's something to definitely look at moving forward. Now, before I get up out of here, y'all got to give me my credit for this Jared McCain shit. Y'all got to give me my credit, bro. I need my credit in full. I told y'all the motherfucker was nice. I told y'all. He giving 30 to the best team in the East. Like, I told y'all that kid was nice. And just from the eye test in terms of the kid playing, I was like, oh, he looks pretty good. All the other stuff, all the things that everyone hated is what solidified it for me. Because when you think about an athlete growing up, a star athlete, one of the best players on a team growing up, right? They all have to deal with the trash talk already. The overrated, for the most part, chants, you suck. Like, all of the good players have to deal with that. And all NBA players are the best players from their hometown or where they come from, right? So they all got to deal with that. He's also small in terms of basketball, right? So he also has the little man complex. But now you add the fact that he paints his nails. People are questioning his sexuality. People are calling him fruity. The TikToks. You're talking about a guy that walks into a locker room full of alpha males and still chooses to paint his nails. Regardless of what you think about him painting his nails, you gotta be a bad motherfucker to do that. Like, you can't be no 15th man roster, can't get a bucket, and you painting your nails and going into a professional locker room. I think all of the things that I just named, having doubters as an athlete growing up, being smaller than everyone, people questioning your sexuality, right? And to still be himself at all times, right? There was a video of Kyle Lowry like, yo, get that camera out of my face. And he's like, I'm not doing that. It's a vlog or whatever, right? Some people might look at it as, oh, he's being childish, or, oh, he's not being respectful. The other side of it is he's just being totally himself. And I'm sure he will learn what different people's boundaries are. But I'm also describing someone that's fearless. And when you think about a player that's fearless, you know, when you go from college to the NBA and you see the same reads, you know, you're in a situation on a swing, and this guy is trailing you. Another rookie might freeze in that situation because they start overthinking it, the game plan. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what coach did. Or you get a player that's completely fearless and says, I know this read. I know it. I'm going to drive it, get to the cup. I'm going to shoot the shot because this is what I know. And I think all of those things are why he is having success. We've talked about how powerful confidence is, right? It's like an attribute booster, right? Like in video games, right? Like when you put like armor on, +10 to attack, +10 to defense or whatever. That's what confidence does. And, you know, when you look at his physique coming in, I was like, he looked like he got an NBA body hit. The bro's calves look like Manny Pacquiao's calves. And Manny Pacquiao had to run through mountains in the Philippines, dog. So, for like, his calves look like Manny Pacquiao calves. So, I knew that physically he would be just fine. He could shoot. He has, you know, he's got a really good game. But the mental part and the confidence part is what a lot of people lack. And he don't seem to do that. The other part, too, is he's getting an opportunity with Tyrese Maxey out. So that's also a huge plus for him, right? Other players don't get that opportunity. And then the confidence wanes over the course of the season because you don't get those chances. And so, in a weird way, he got blessed with that, right? But to go out there and still perform, kudos to him. And, you know, I saw the video. He had a video on YouTube called I played against LeBron James Jr. and Sr. Calling LeBron Sr. is diabolical. And you just think about someone that's marketable, that the NBA don't have to put as much effort into marketing. Someone that's thought for themselves, made money for themselves. Like, this shit don't faze this kid. And the reality is teams are going to adjust. They're going to figure out what his tendencies are. And they're going, when he starts ending up on the scouting report is when we'll really get to see how he adjusts. But he's a real solid player. And I got to give him a lot of credit because I'm sure it's tough. He's had to read all of these comments from all these motherfuckers, and he's out there hooping still. So you got to give that boy his credit. And I got to get mine. So thank y'all so much, man. That's going to do it for me for now. I appreciate y'all so fucking much as always. Now, before I get out of here, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. We're trying to grow this motherfucker, and we will, man. Just watch out. I'm coming for you, Stephen A. Smith. Coming for that spot. Gilbert, we coming for it. We coming for that shit. But I'll see y'all later, man. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me, and I appreciate y'all so much for that. Happy Friday. Have a great Friday, y'all. Have a great weekend. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson later. UFC tomorrow. I'll see y'all later, man. I'll see y'all Monday. Y'all have a great one, man. Peace, 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 peace. Elijah, you're the fucking GOAT, bro. I'll see you later. Peace.